Shakira woke in a stranger's bed with no memory of how she got there, her dress still on but her body humming with awareness, because the dangerously beautiful Korean man leaning against the doorframe was looking at her like she was already his. And when he prowled closer with predatory grace and said in a voice like dark velvet, "I've been watching you for hours, saw them drug your champagne, and I took you before they could." The possessive way he said, "took you," made heat pool low in her belly, despite the fear. His name is Sung Min. He moves through New York's underworld like a king, and he just explained with terrifying calm that human traffickers had targeted her, but he claimed her first by carrying her out of that gallery. Except the way his eyes devour every curve of her body, and the way he keeps saying mine like a prayer, makes it clear that his protection comes with a price. She's not sure she's ready to pay. What Shakira can't see as she's trapped between wanting to run and wanting him to touch her is that Sung Min has already decided she belongs to him, that the Russian crime lord who wanted her is now his mortal enemy for daring to target what's his, and the choice she thinks she has, leave or stay, was actually stolen the moment his arms caught her falling, because this dangerous, obsessed man has no intention of ever letting her go, and the heat building between them every time their eyes meet is about to explode into something that will either consume them both or save them from the enemies circling closer. If you are already loving this dangerously spicy dark romance story, hit subscribe and tell us where you are watching from. The champagne glass slipped from Shakira's fingers, and the room started spinning like a broken carousel. She blinked hard, trying to focus on the expensive paintings hanging on the white gallery walls. But everything blurred into watercolour smudges. Her heart hammered against her ribs as panic crept up her throat. Something was wrong. Very, very wrong. "Are you okay, miss?" A voice floated somewhere near her, but it sounded like it was coming from underwater. Shakira tried to answer, tried to say that no, she wasn't okay at all, but her tongue felt thick and heavy in her mouth. Her knees buckled, and she felt herself falling forward. The marble floor rushed up to meet her face, and she closed her eyes, bracing for the impact that would surely break her nose, but the impact never came. Instead, strong arms caught her mid-fall, pulling her against a solid chest that smelled like expensive cologne and something darker, more dangerous. Shakira's eyes fluttered open for just a second, and she saw a face that looked like it had been carved from stone. Sharp jawline, dark eyes that seemed to see right through her soul, black hair styled perfectly. "I've got you," the man said, his voice deep and accented. Korean. Her fuzzy brain registered. He was Korean. Then everything went black when Shakira's eyes opened again. She wasn't at the art gallery anymore. She was lying in the biggest bed she had ever seen, surrounded by black silk sheets that felt like water against her skin. The room was huge, with floor-to-ceiling windows showing the New York City skyline glittering like scattered diamonds. Everything screamed money and power. Her head throbbed like someone was drumming on her skull, and her mouth tasted like cotton. Shakira sat up slowly, her hands shaking as she looked down at herself. She was still wearing her emerald green dress, the one she had spent 3 months making by hand for tonight's show. At least whoever brought her here hadn't undressed her. That was something. "You're awake." Shakira's head snapped toward the voice, so fast her neck cracked. The man from the gallery stood in the doorway, leaning against the frame like he owned the entire building, which, judging by this apartment, he probably did. He was even more handsome now that her vision wasn't swimming. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up to show forearms roped with muscle. He looked about 30, maybe a little older, with the kind of face that probably made women walk into walls. "Where am I?" Shakira's voice came out scratchy and weak. She cleared her throat and tried again, stronger this time. "Who are you? Why did you bring me here?" The man pushed off the doorframe and walked into the room with the smooth confidence of a predator. Shakira's body tensed, ready to run, but something in his eyes stopped her. He didn't look at her the way the creepy men at the party had been looking at her all night. He looked at her like she was something precious that might break. "My name is Sung Min," he said, stopping a few feet from the bed. Close enough that she could see the exact shade of his eyes, which were so dark brown they were almost black. "You're in my home in Manhattan. I brought you here because someone put something in your drink at that party." Shakira's stomach dropped. "What? No, that can't be right. I only accepted one glass from the waiter and—" Her voice trailed off as memory came flooding back. The waiter had handed her a glass, but then another man, a shorter guy with greasy blonde hair and a smile that didn't reach his eyes, had bumped into them. He had apologized, laughed, and handed her a different glass, saying hers had spilled a little. She had been so focused on not staining her dress that she hadn't thought twice about it. "Oh God," Shakira whispered, her hand flying to her mouth. "I'm so stupid. I should have known better. My mother always warned me about accepting drinks from strangers and I just—" "You're not stupid," Sung Min cut in, his voice firm. "They're professionals. They do this all the time, targeting women at high-end events, beautiful women travelling alone." His eyes swept over her face and something flickered in their depths. Women who stand out in a crowd. Shakira felt heat rise to her cheeks, despite everything. "You saved me. I was watching you all evening," Sung Min admitted, and somehow it didn't sound creepy coming from him. "I saw the exchange, saw your eyes start to glaze over. When you began to fall, I knew I had to get you out of there before they did." "They?" Shakira pulled the silk sheet closer around herself, even though she was fully dressed. "Who are they?" Sung Min's jaw tightened, and for a second, Shakira saw something dangerous flash across his face. People who traffic women, they drug them at parties, take them when no one's looking, and by the time anyone realizes something's wrong, the women are gone, sold to the highest bidder. The room tilted again, but this time it had nothing to do with drugs. Shakira's breath came in short gasps as the reality of what almost happened crashed over her like a wave. She could have been taken, could have disappeared in a foreign country where nobody knew her, where her family wouldn't even know where to start looking. "Hey, breathe," Sung Min said, suddenly sitting on the edge of the bed. He didn't touch her, but his presence was solid and grounding. "You're safe now, I promise you. You're safe." "Why?" Shakira looked up at him, searching his face for answers. "Why would you help me? You don't even know me." Sung Min was quiet for a long moment, studying her with those intense dark eyes. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. "Because I know what it's like to be powerless, and I swore a long time ago that I would never stand by and watch someone suffer if I could prevent it." There was a story there, Shakira could tell, something painful buried beneath those words. But before she could ask, her stomach growled so loudly it echoed in the huge bedroom. Shakira wanted to die of embarrassment. Sung Min's serious expression cracked, and he almost smiled, almost. "When did you last eat?" Yesterday. I was too nervous about the show to eat today." He stood up in one smooth motion. "Stay here. I'll bring you food." "Wait." Shakira out as he headed for the door. "I should probably go back to my hotel. My friend McKenna is probably worried sick. She's been texting me all night about the show and—" Shakira trailed off as she realized she had no idea where her phone was, or her purse, or anything else she had brought to the party. "Your belongings are on the dresser," Sung Min said, reading her mind. "Your phone died, but I have a charger you can use. As for leaving—" He paused, his hand on the doorframe. "Those men saw me take you. They know my face. Which means they might be looking for you to finish what they started. I can't let you walk out of here unprotected." "So what? I'm a prisoner?" Shakira felt anger spark in her chest, pushing past the fear. "No," Sungmin said firmly. "You're my guest, my protected guest. There's a difference." Before Shakira could argue, he disappeared down the hallway, leaving her alone in the massive bedroom. She climbed out of bed on shaky legs and walked to the windows, pressing her hand against the cool glass. The city spread out below her like a living map, all lights and movement and life. Somewhere out there, men who wanted to hurt her were walking around free, and here she was, in a stranger's apartment, completely at his mercy. Except Sungmin didn't feel like a stranger. He felt like safety wrapped in danger, like the eye of a hurricane where everything was calm but chaos swirled just beyond reach. Shakira jumped when she heard footsteps behind her. Sungmin had returned carrying a tray loaded with food, rice, some kind of grilled meat that smelled incredible, vegetables, and soup that steamed in a stone bowl. "Korean food," he said, setting the tray on a small table near the window. "I wasn't sure what you liked, so I made a bit of everything." "You cooked this?" Shakira couldn't hide her surprise. "My grandmother taught me before she moved to America. She said a man who can't feed himself is half a man." Sungmin pulled out a chair for her. "Sit, eat, we can talk after." Shakira's stomach won the argument with her pride, and she sat down. The first bite of beef melted on her tongue, and she had to stop herself from moaning out loud. It was perfectly seasoned, sweet and savoury at the same time. "This is amazing," she said around a mouthful of rice. Sungmin sat across from her, watching her eat with an expression she couldn't quite read. "You're from Rwanda." It wasn't a question, but Shakira nodded anyway. "How did you know?" "Your accent. The pattern on your dress is Rwandan design, mixed with modern cuts. You're a designer, and tonight was your first American show." Shakira's chopsticks froze halfway to her mouth. "Have you been investigating me?" "I asked around at the party before things went wrong," Sungmin admitted. "People were talking about the new designer from Africa who was going to revolutionize fashion. They weren't exaggerating. Your work is extraordinary." Heat flooded Shakira's cheeks again. "Thank you." They fell into silence while she ate, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It felt almost natural, like they had done this 100 times before. When Shakira finally pushed back from the table, too full to take another bite, she found Sungmin still watching her with that intense gaze. "What?" she asked, suddenly self-conscious. "I'm trying to figure you out," he said honestly. "Most women would be hysterical right now, screaming, crying, demanding I take them home immediately, but you're calm, analytical, stronger than you look. I grew up in Rwanda after the genocide," Shakira said quietly. "My parents taught me that falling apart doesn't solve problems. Action does. Strength does." She met his eyes. "So instead of panicking, I'm choosing to trust that you're telling me the truth about those men, and I'm choosing to stay here until I figure out my next move." Something shifted in Sungmin's expression. Respect, maybe, or admiration. "Smart girl." "Woman," Shakira corrected. "I'm 24, not a girl." "Woman," Sungmin agreed, and the way he said it made Shakira's pulse quicken. He stood up and moved to the windows, staring out at the city. "There's something you should know about me, Shakira. I'm not just some businessman who happened to be at the right place at the right time. I have connections, power. People fear me for good reason." "Are you a criminal?" Shakira asked bluntly. Sungmin's reflection smiled in the window glass, but it wasn't a happy smile. "Define criminal. I run businesses that operate in grey areas. I protect my territory. I have enemies who would love to see me dead, but I don't hurt innocent people. I don't traffic women or sell drugs to kids. I have a code." "A code," Shakira repeated, trying to process this information. She should be scared, should be running for the door, but instead, she felt drawn to him, like a moth to a flame. "The men who tried to take you tonight work for someone I've been tracking for months," Sungmin continued. Viktor Kozlov, Russian, ruthless. He wants to expand his operation into my territory, and he's using human trafficking to fund his war against me. He turned from the window to face her, which means you're caught in the middle now, whether you like it or not. Shakira's breath caught. Because you saved me. Because I claimed you, Sungmin corrected, taking a step toward her. The second I carried you out of that gallery, I made a statement. You're under my protection now, and in my world, that means something. He was close now, close enough that Shakira had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. Her heart hammered so hard she was sure he could hear it. I don't belong to anyone, Shakira whispered, but her voice shook. Sungmin reached out slowly, giving her plenty of time to move away. When she didn't, he tucked a strand of her hair behind her ear. His fingers were warm against her skin, and Shakira shivered. Not yet, he murmured, his voice dropping to that deep register that made her stomach flip. But you will. Then he stepped back, breaking the spell. There's a bedroom down the hall where you can sleep. My bodyguard, Bong Cha, will be posted outside your door all night. You're completely safe here. Where will you sleep? Shakira asked before she could stop herself. Sungmin's eyes darkened, somewhere far enough away that I won't be tempted to do something we'll both regret. He left her standing there, confused and breathless, and completely out of her depth. Shakira walked to the guest bedroom on shaking legs, her mind spinning with everything that had happened. She had come to New York to showcase her designs and start building her career. Instead, she had been drugged, nearly kidnapped, and saved by a dangerous Korean man who looked at her like she was the only thing that mattered in the entire world. As she climbed into another impossibly soft bed, Shakira's last thought, before sleep took her, was that her life would never be the same. Down the hall, Sungmin sat in his office, staring at the security footage from the gallery on his computer screen. He watched himself catch Shakira as she fell, watched the way her body had fit perfectly against his, watched the moment everything in his carefully controlled world had tilted off its axis. He had saved dozens of women from Victor's men over the years, had stopped countless trafficking attempts, but this was different. She was different. Sungmin leaned back in his chair and whispered to the empty room, "Mine." Shakira woke to sunlight streaming through windows she didn't recognize, in a bed that wasn't hers, wearing yesterday's wrinkled dress. For a second, panic seized her chest before memories flooded back. The party, the drugged drink, Sungmin's dark eyes and strong arms catching her before she hit the ground. She sat up slowly, relieved that the pounding headache from last night had faded to a dull ache. Her phone lay charging on the nightstand, and when she picked it up, the screen exploded with notifications. 43 missed calls from Makina, 67 text messages, 12 voicemails. Oh no! Shakira breathed, quickly calling her best friend back. Makina answered on the first ring, her voice frantic. "Shakira! Oh my God, where have you been? I've been losing my mind. I almost Shakira the police." "I'm so sorry," Shakira said quickly. "Something happened at the party last night. Someone drugged my drink, but a man saved me before anything bad could happen. I'm safe. I promise." "Drugged? What do you mean drugged? Where are you right now?" Before Shakira could answer, there was a knock on the bedroom door. "Come in," she called out, expecting Sungmin. Instead, a woman entered carrying a tray with breakfast. She was Korean, maybe in her late 20s, with sharp eyes and a build that suggested she could break someone in half without breaking a sweat. She wore all black, and Shakira noticed what looked like a gun holster under her jacket. "Good morning," the woman said in accented English. "I am Bong Cha. Sungmin assigned me to protect you. I brought food." "Shakira, who is that? What's happening?" Makina's voice squeaked from the phone. "I'll call you back in an hour and explain everything," Shakira promised. "I'm really okay. I swear on our friendship. She hung up before Makina could protest further and watched as Bong Cha set down a tray loaded with fresh fruit, toast, eggs and coffee that smelled like heaven. "Did Sungmin make this too?" Shakira asked. Bong Cha's serious expression cracked slightly. "No, Boss cannot cook breakfast foods. He only knows Korean dishes his grandmother taught him. This came from the restaurant downstairs. He owns the building." "Of course he does," Shakira muttered, reaching for the coffee. The first sip was perfect, exactly the right amount of cream and sugar without her having to ask. "How did you know how I take my coffee?" "Boss told me. He pays attention to details." Shakira absorbed this information while Bong Cha moved to the windows, checking something on her phone. The bodyguard was shorter than Shakira, but radiated an energy that suggested underestimating her would be a fatal mistake. "Where is Sungmin?" Shakira asked between bites of perfectly scrambled eggs. "Handling business. He said to tell you that clothes will arrive within the hour in your size. You cannot wear the same dress forever." "He doesn't need to buy me clothes," Shakira protested. "I have things at my hotel." Bong Cha turned from the window, her expression deadly serious. "Your hotel is being watched. 3 of Victor's men have been stationed there since dawn, waiting for you to return. Going there now would be extremely stupid." The egg suddenly tasted like ash in Shakira's mouth. "They're still looking for me." "Yes, which is why you stay here, where we can protect you." Bong Cha's phone buzzed, and she glanced at it. "Boss is back. He wants to see you when you finish eating." Shakira forced herself to eat a few more bites, then headed to the bathroom to freshen up. Someone had left new toiletries on the counter, all expensive brands still in their packaging. She washed her face, finger-combed her hair into something resembling order, and stared at her reflection in the mirror. "What are you doing, Shakira?" she whispered to herself. "You should be demanding he take you to the police, not getting comfortable in his guest room." But even as she thought it, she knew she wouldn't leave. Something about Sungmin pulled at her like gravity, and she wanted to understand what it was. She found him in a massive living room that probably cost more than her entire neighborhood back in Kigali. He stood by the windows, talking on his phone in rapid Korean, his voice sharp and commanding. He wore different clothes now, dark slacks and a fitted black shirt that showed off his build. When he saw her, he ended the call abruptly. "You slept well?" he asked. "Better than I should have, considering everything." Shakira crossed her arms, suddenly nervous. "Bong Cha said men are watching my hotel. 3 men, low-level soldiers. Victor is sending a message that he knows who you are and where you're staying." Sungmin's jaw tightened. "I have people watching them watch your hotel. They won't get near you." "This is insane," Shakira said, her voice rising. "I came to New York to show my clothes and network with buyers. Now I'm hiding from Russian criminals in a penthouse with armed guards. How is this my life right now?" Sungmin crossed the room to her in 3 long strides. He stopped close enough that Shakira had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact, close enough that she could smell his cologne again, all cedar and something darker. "I know this isn't what you signed up for," he said quietly. "And if you want to walk away, I'll arrange safe transport back to Rwanda today. But if you stay, I promise you 3 things. 1, I will keep you safe no matter what it costs me. 2, I will help you complete your business in New York without Victor's men interfering. 3, I will make sure those men pay for what they tried to do to you." Shakira's breath caught at the intensity in his eyes. "Why? Why do you care so much about protecting me?" "Because from the moment I saw you across that gallery, something in my chest shifted," Sungmin admitted. "You were wearing that green dress, laughing with some pretentious art dealer who clearly didn't appreciate your genius. Your eyes sparkled when you talked about your designs. You commanded the room without even trying, and I thought, I need to know her." "That's not an answer," Shakira whispered. It's the only one I have right now. Sungmin lifted his hand slowly, giving her time to move away. When she didn't, he cupped her cheek, his thumb brushing across her skin. Stay, at least until we figure out what this is between us. Shakira knew she should say no, should protect herself, should run far away from this dangerous man and his dangerous world. But her mother had always said she was too curious for her own good, always sticking her hand into beehives just to see what would happen. Okay, she heard herself say, I'll stay, for now. Something fierce and possessive flashed in Sungmin's eyes. His thumb traced her lower lip, and Shakira's knees went weak. The moment shattered when the elevator dinged, and voices filled the apartment. Sungmin stepped back smoothly as 3 people entered the living room. Bongcha led them, followed by a stunning Korean woman in her 30s, wearing a business suit, and a tall man with cold eyes and a scar running down his left cheek. Shakira, this is my sister, Ji-yeon. Sungmin introduced the woman. She handles our legal operations, and this is Hwan, my business partner. Ji-yeon smiled warmly and shook Shakira's hand. It's wonderful to meet you. My brother hasn't stopped talking about you since last night. Ji-yeon, Sungmin said warningly. What? I'm just being honest. Ji-yeon winked at Shakira. He Shakira me at 2 a.m, rambling about an African fashion designer with eyes like stars. Shakira felt heat flood her cheeks while Sungmin glared at his sister. Hwan, meanwhile, studied Shakira with an expression she couldn't read. It wasn't friendly. We need to discuss the Victor situation, Hwan said curtly, ignoring Shakira completely. Privately. Anything you need to say can be said in front of Shakira, Sungmin replied, his voice taking on that commanding edge again. Hwan's eyes flickered to Shakira, then back to Sungmin. Is that wise? We don't know anything about her. She could be working with Victor, sent to infiltrate your organization. Watch your mouth. Sungmin's voice dropped to something dangerous. It's a legitimate concern, Hwan pressed. She shows up at the gallery, conveniently gets drugged. You play hero and bring her into your home. How do we know this isn't exactly what Victor wanted? Shakira felt anger surge through her veins, burning away her nervousness. I have documentation of every piece I showed last night. I have emails with the gallery going back 6 months. I have plane tickets from Rwanda and hotel reservations. If you think I'm some kind of spy, do your research instead of throwing around accusations. Ji-yeon laughed, a bright sound that cut the tension. Oh, I like her. She's got fire. Hwan's expression didn't change. Research can be fabricated. Enough, Sungmin said, his voice brooking no argument. I've already had her background checked. Shakira Uwera, 24 years old, born in Kigali, educated at the Rwanda School of Art and Design, graduated top of her class. She's been featured in 3 African fashion magazines and won 2 design competitions. She has no criminal record, no suspicious connections, no reason to be involved with Victor. She's exactly who she appears to be. Shakira didn't know whether to be impressed or disturbed that he had investigated her so thoroughly. When did you have time to check all that? Last night while you slept, Sungmin said unapologetically. I needed to be sure. And you're satisfied she's clean? Hwan asked skeptically. Completely. The fashion show venue buzzed with energy as models strutted down the runway wearing Shakira's designs. She stood backstage, her heart hammering with a mixture of excitement and terror. This was everything she had dreamed about since she was a little girl, sketching dresses in her notebook during school. But now, watching from the wings, while Bongcha stood guard nearby, the achievement felt bittersweet. 3 days had passed since she moved into Sungmin's penthouse. 3 days of heated glances across the breakfast table, of his hand brushing hers when he passed her coffee, of conversations that lasted until midnight where they talked about everything from childhood memories to favourite books. 3 days of falling deeper into something she couldn't name. The final model walked and the crowd erupted into applause. Shakira took a deep breath and stepped onto the runway, her legs shaking beneath her custom-made outfit. The lights were blinding, but as her eyes adjusted, she saw him. Sungmin sat in the front row, looking impossibly handsome in a charcoal suit, his eyes fixed on her like she was the only person in the entire venue. The applause grew louder. Shakira bowed, overwhelmed by the response. When she looked up again, an auction paddle went up, then another, and another. Within minutes, every single piece from her collection had been purchased. Her head spun with numbers that didn't seem real. Then, the auctioneer's voice rang out. "And we have a final bid for the entire remaining collection. Going once, going twice, sold to bidder number 7. Shakira's eyes found Sungmin. He held paddle number 7, a small smile playing at his lips. He had bought everything, every last design. After the show, Shakira found herself swept into a whirlwind of congratulations from buyers, press, and other designers. Through it all, she felt Sungmin's presence like a magnetic pull. Finally, as the crowd began to thin, he appeared at her elbow. "You were magnificent," he said quietly, his breath warm against her ear. "You bought my entire collection," Shakira said, turning to face him. "Why would you do that?" "Because your work deserves to be appreciated, not cut apart and scattered." His eyes held hers. "And because I wanted to give you something after everything you've lost by being pulled into my world." "I didn't lose anything," Shakira protested. "You saved me. Did I? Or did I trap you in a golden cage?" Sungmin's expression darkened. "Victor's men are still circling. You can't go back to your hotel, can't move freely without guards, can't live your normal life, all because I claimed you that night." Shakira reached up and touched his face, feeling the slight stubble on his jaw. "Maybe I don't want my normal life anymore." The air between them crackled with electricity. Sungmin's hand came up to cover hers, pressing her palm more firmly against his cheek. "Shakira, you don't know what you're saying." "Don't I?" She stepped closer, closing the distance until their bodies almost touched. "I'm not a child, Sungmin. I know exactly what I'm feeling." His control snapped like a rubber band stretched too tight. Sungmin pulled her against him, one hand sliding into her hair, while the other wrapped around her waist. "Tell me to stop," he murmured, his lips hovering just above hers. "Tell me this is a mistake." "Don't you dare stop," Shakira whispered. He kissed her like a man starving, like she was oxygen, and he had been drowning. Shakira melted into him, her hands fisting in his expensive suit jacket. The world disappeared until there was nothing but the taste of him, the feel of his body against hers, the way he held her like she was both fragile and essential. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Sungmin rested his forehead against hers. "I have a restaurant, private, just for special occasions. Let me take you there tonight." "Yes," Shakira agreed without hesitation. 2 hours later, Shakira found herself in the back of Sungmin's car, wearing a dress Jiyeon had helped her pick out. It was deep red, fitted to her curves, with a slit up one thigh that made Sungmin's eyes darken every time he looked at her. The restaurant was tucked away on a quiet street, unmarked and exclusive. Inside, it was all dim lighting and intimate tables. Sungmin had reserved the entire place, so they were completely alone, except for one waiter who served them and then disappeared. "This is incredible," Shakira said, looking around at the traditional Korean decor mixed with modern elegance. "I bought it for my grandmother when she moved here," Sungmin explained, pouring them both wine. "She wanted a place that reminded her of Seoul. After she retired, I kept it running for moments like this." They ate slowly, savouring each course. Sungmin told her stories about growing up in Korea, about his grandmother who raised him after his parents died in a car accident. Shakira shared memories of Rwanda, of rebuilding after devastation, of her mother who taught her to sew before she could read. "You're remarkable," Sungmin said, reaching across the table to take her hand. You've survived so much, achieved so much, and you're only 24. So have you, Shakira pointed out. You built an empire from nothing. An empire covered in blood, Sungmin said darkly. I'm not a good man, Shakira. I've done things that would make you run if you knew the details. Shakira squeezed his hand. I'm not running. After dinner, Sungmin led her upstairs to a private room with windows overlooking the city. Music played softly from hidden speakers. Something slow and sensual. He pulled her into his arms, and they swayed together, not quite dancing, just holding each other. I've never felt this way, Sungmin admitted, his lips brushing her temple. Like, I would burn the world down to keep you safe. Like nothing else matters but making you smile. Shakira tilted her head back to look at him. Then, show me. He kissed her again, slower this time, deeper. His hands traced the curve of her spine, the dip of her waist, mapping her body like he was memorizing every inch. Shakira's fingers worked at the buttons of his shirt, desperate to feel skin against skin. Are you sure? Sungmin asked, even as his own hands found the zipper of her dress. Once we cross this line, there's no going back. You'll be mine, Shakira. Completely. I'm already yours, she whispered against his lips. I have been since you caught me. They made it to the couch by the windows, clothes falling away like petals. Sungmin was surprisingly gentle, his touches reverent as he explored her body. He kissed every scar, every imperfection, murmuring words in Korean that sounded like prayers. When he finally moved above her, his eyes locked with hers. Beautiful, he breathed. You're so beautiful it hurts to look at you. Shakira pulled him down for another kiss, arching into him as they came together. It was intense and overwhelming and perfect. Sungmin took his time, building the pleasure slowly until Shakira thought she might shatter. When she finally did, crying out his name, he followed her over the edge, burying his face in her neck. Afterward, they lay tangled together on the couch, Shakira's head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat slow. Sungmin's fingers traced lazy patterns on her bare shoulder. Stay with me tonight, he murmured, in my bed, not the guest room. Okay, Shakira agreed, too content to argue. They dressed slowly, stealing kisses between each piece of clothing. The drive back to the penthouse felt like floating on a cloud. Shakira couldn't stop smiling, couldn't stop touching him, her hand resting on his thigh while his covered hers. But when they entered the penthouse, Bongcha was waiting with an expression that killed their joy instantly. What happened? Sungmin demanded, immediately on alert. Victor hit the shipment in Atlanta. 3 of our men are dead, and he took everything. 2 million in merchandise, gone. Bongcha's jaw was tight, and he left a message. She handed Sungmin a phone. He looked at the screen, and Shakira watched all the warmth drain from his face, replaced by something cold and lethal. What is it? Shakira asked. Sungmin turned the phone so she could see. It was a photo of her taken from across the street as she entered the fashion show venue that afternoon. Written across the image in red letters were the words, "Pretty bird, shame if something happened to her." Shakira's blood turned to ice. He knows who I am. He's been watching, Sungmin said, his voice deadly calm, in a way that was more terrifying than shouting, waiting for the right moment to strike. Hwan burst through the door, followed by Ji-yeon. Both looked grim. We need to move her, Hwan said immediately. Get her out of the city, somewhere Victor can't reach. No, Sungmin said flatly. She stays with me where I can protect her. You're thinking with the wrong part of your anatomy, Hwan snapped. She's a liability. Victor is using her to get to you. Send her back to Rwanda before this gets worse. I'm standing right here, Shakira interjected, anger cutting through her fear. Stop talking about me like I'm not in the room. Ji-yeon moved to Shakira's side, a show of support. She's right. This is her life, you're all deciding. She deserves a voice. What do you want to do? Sungmin asked Shakira, his eyes searching hers. Shakira thought about running, about going home where things made sense, but the thought of leaving Sungmin, of never seeing him again, felt like someone was tearing out her heart. I want to stay, she said firmly. I want to fight. Juan laughed bitterly. Fight? You're a fashion designer, not a soldier. What exactly do you think you can contribute? More than you'd expect, Shakira shot back. I survived a genocide. I rebuilt my life from nothing. I'm not some delicate flower who wilts at the first sign of danger. This isn't about strength, Ji-yeon said gently. Victor is ruthless. He won't just kill you, Shakira. He'll make it hurt. He'll make it public. He'll use you to destroy my brother. Then, we don't give him the chance, Shakira insisted. We figure out how to end this before it gets worse. Sungmin pulled her close, wrapping his arms around her from behind. I won't let anything happen to you. I swear it on my life. Your life isn't the one I'm worried about, Shakira said, leaning back against his chest. Juan's phone rang, and he answered it sharply. As he listened, his expression grew darker. Understood. Increase security on all locations. He hung up and looked at Sungmin. Victor just took out our warehouse in Philadelphia. That's 2 hits in one night. He's escalating. He's trying to draw me out, Sungmin realized. Force me to leave Shakira vulnerable while I deal with the attacks. It's working, isn't it? Juan challenged. You can't protect her and fight a war at the same time. Watch me, Sungmin growled. The penthouse erupted into strategic planning. Ji-yeon pulled up maps and locations on her tablet. Bongcha coordinated with teams across the city. Juan argued for aggressive retaliation. Through it all, Sungmin kept Shakira close, one arm around her waist, like he was afraid she might disappear. It was past midnight when Shakira finally excused herself, exhausted. She went to Sungmin's bedroom as promised and changed into one of his shirts, breathing in his scent from the fabric. When he finally joined her an hour later, he looked 10 years older, the weight of leadership pressing down on his shoulders. Come to bed, Shakira said softly, pulling back the covers. Sungmin stripped down to his boxers and climbed in beside her, immediately pulling her against his chest. I should send you away, he murmured into her hair. It would be the right thing to do. But you won't, Shakira said, knowing it was true. No. I'm too selfish, too addicted to having you near me. His arms tightened around her. I've become my own worst nightmare, a man so obsessed with a woman that he'd risk everything to keep her. Shakira turned in his arms to face him. Then we face it together. Whatever comes, we handle it as a team. Sungmin kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. I don't deserve you. Good thing I'm not asking for permission, Shakira whispered, snuggling closer. They fell asleep, wrapped around each other, both knowing that the storm was only beginning, but neither willing to let go. 3 floors below, in a black car parked across the street, Victor Kozlov watched the lights in Sungmin's penthouse finally go dark. He smiled, cold and cruel, and made a phone call. Phase 2 begins tomorrow, he said in Russian. Find the friend, the one from Tanzania. Bring her to me. Shakira woke to an empty bed and the sound of raised voices coming from somewhere in the penthouse. She grabbed a robe and followed the noise to Sungmin's office, where she found him standing behind his desk, face flushed with anger, while Juan and Ji-yeon watched from chairs nearby. You can't keep pretending this is sustainable, Juan was saying. Victor took out another shipment last night. That's 3 in 48 hours. We're bleeding money and losing respect. Our people are starting to question your leadership. My leadership is fine, Sungmin bit out. Is it? Because from where I'm standing, you've been distracted ever since that girl showed up. Juan's words were sharp as knives. Shakira pushed open the door, done with hiding. That girl has a name. Use it. All 3 heads swiveled toward her. Sungmin's expression softened immediately, but Hwan's grew colder. "This is a private business discussion," Hwan said dismissively. "About me, apparently, which makes it my business." Shakira walked into the room, tying her robe more securely. "If my presence is causing problems, I deserve to know about it." Ji-yeon stood up, moving to Shakira's side. "Hwan is exaggerating. Yes, Victor is hitting us hard, but it's a calculated strategy that has nothing to do with you personally and everything to do with expansion. Expansion funded by human trafficking," Shakira said, "which means women like me are being sold every day to pay for his war against you." Silence fell over the room. Sungmin rounded the desk and came to stand in front of Shakira, his hands gentle on her shoulders. "You've been researching." "Of course I have. You think I'd just sit around playing princess in your tower while people suffer?" Shakira met his eyes. "I found articles about Victor, about the trafficking ring, about the dozens of women who disappear every month in cities where he operates. This is exactly what I was afraid of," Sungmin said quietly. "You getting pulled deeper into this darkness." "I was already pulled in the moment he drugged my drink," Shakira countered. "Now I'm choosing to do something about it, instead of hiding." Hwan made a disgusted sound. "Noble. Stupid, but noble. What exactly do you think you can do against an organization that's been operating for 15 years? Shakira turned to face him fully. "I can be bait." "Absolutely not," Sungmin said immediately, his voice brooking no argument. "Hear me out," Shakira pressed. "Victor wants to get to you through me, right? So let him think he can. Set a trap. Use me to draw him out." "Have you lost your mind?" Ji-yeon demanded. "Victor doesn't take prisoners, Shakira. He destroys people, literally destroys them. Then we make sure he doesn't get the chance." Shakira looked between the three of them. "You're all so focused on protecting me that you're missing the obvious opportunity. I'm the one thing Victor wants more than territory right now. Leverage that." "No," Sungmin repeated, his jaw set. "I won't use you as bait. End of discussion." Before Shakira could argue further, Bongcha burst into the office, her phone clutched in her hand and her face pale. "Boss, we have a problem. A big one." "What now?" Sungmin demanded. Bongcha looked at Shakira with something like pity. "It's your friend, Makana. She's been taken." The world tilted sideways. Shakira grabbed the edge of the desk to steady herself. "What do you mean taken? She's in London. She went home 2 days ago." "She came back," Bongcha said gently. "Landed at JFK this morning to surprise you. Our people at the airport spotted Victor's men following her, but by the time we moved to intercept, they had already grabbed her from the taxi line." "No," Shakira whispered, her knees buckling. Sungmin caught her, holding her upright. "No, no, this is my fault. She came back for me, and now—" "This is Victor's fault," Sungmin said firmly, even as fury blazed in his eyes. "Not yours." Bongcha handed him her phone. "He sent a video 5 minutes ago." Sungmin watched the screen, and Shakira saw every muscle in his body go tense. "Show me," she demanded, grabbing for the phone. "Shakira, you don't want to see this," Ji-yeon said. "Show me." Reluctantly, Sungmin turned the phone so she could see. The video showed Makena tied to a chair in what looked like a warehouse. Her face was bruised, her lips split and bleeding. A man's voice spoke in Russian-accented English. "You have something I want, Sungmin. Territory, respect, power. Give me Philadelphia and Boston. Pull your operations out completely, and the girl lives. You have 24 hours to decide if she's worth your empire. Oh, and tell your little African princess that her friend sends her regards." The video ended with Makena looking directly at the camera, tears streaming down her face. Before the screen went black, Shakira felt something inside her snap. All the fear, all the uncertainty, all the weakness burned away, replaced by pure rage. "We're getting her back. Right now." "We will," Sungmin promised. But we need a plan. Victor is expecting us to react emotionally, to rush in. That's when he'll strike. I don't care about his expectations, Shakira said, her voice shaking with anger. That's my best friend. My sister in everything but blood. She's in there because of me, which is exactly why we need to be smart about this, Jiyeon interjected. Victor took her to use as leverage, which means he won't kill her immediately. We have time to plan a proper rescue. Juan stood up, pacing. He wants Philadelphia and Boston. Those territories generate 15 million a year in revenue. If we pull out, we show weakness. Every rival we have will see it as an opening to attack. I don't give a damn about territories, Sungmin said coldly, but I also won't let Victor think he can manipulate me through hostages. We rescue Makina, we keep our territories, and we end Victor's operation permanently. How? Shakira demanded. He has her locked away somewhere. You can't just walk in. Actually, we might be able to, Jiyeon said slowly, pulling up something on her tablet. I've been tracking Victor's properties for months. He has 3 warehouses in the city that he uses for his trafficking operations. If we cross-reference the background in that video with our surveillance footage, we might be able to pinpoint which one. Bongcha moved to look over her shoulder. That brick pattern, the window placement. I've seen that before. For the next 2 hours, they worked frantically, comparing images, running analysis, calling in favours from people throughout the city. Shakira sat in the middle of it all, feeling useless and terrified. Makena was suffering because of her, because she had been foolish enough to get involved with a man like Sungmin, to think she could play in this dangerous world without consequences. Finally, Jiyeon straightened up triumphantly. Got it. Warehouse in Brooklyn, near the waterfront. Victor purchased it through a shell company 6 months ago. How certain are you? Sungmin asked. 90%. The architecture matches perfectly, and our sources confirm increased activity at that location in the past 12 hours. Sungmin nodded, his expression shifting into something hard and lethal. Then we move tonight. Bongcha, gather the team. I want our best people on this. I'm coming with you, Shakira announced. Absolutely not, Sungmin said immediately. She's my friend. I'm coming.
You'll be a liability, Juan pointed out. You have no training, no experience with combat situations. You'll get yourself killed and probably some of our people too. He's right, Sungmin said more gently. I need you here, safe. I can't focus on rescuing Makina if I'm worried about you getting shot. Shakira wanted to argue, but she saw the logic. Fine, but you bring her back. Whatever it takes, you bring her back to me. Sungmin cupped her face in his hands. I promise you, I will bring Makina home safely, even if I have to burn that entire warehouse to the ground. He kissed her, hard and desperate, like he was trying to memorize the feel of her lips. Then he was gone, barking orders, strapping on weapons, transforming from the gentle man who held her at night into something dangerous and deadly. Jiyeon stayed behind with Shakira, both of them watching the security feeds as Sungmin's team prepared to move out. He loves you, you know, Jiyeon said quietly. I've never seen my brother like this, so protective, so vulnerable. I love him too, Shakira admitted. Which terrifies me because I barely know him. Sometimes the heart knows before the head catches up. Jiyeon smiled sadly. Our parents were like that. Met on a Tuesday, married by Saturday, stayed devoted until the day they died. Sungmin always said he'd never be that foolish, never let emotions override logic. Then you walked into his life. Shakira watched the screen as Sungmin climbed into an SUV, surrounded by armed men. What if something goes wrong? What if Victor is expecting this, and it's a trap? Then we pray my brother is as smart as he thinks he is. The waiting was torture. Shakira paced the penthouse, unable to sit still, unable to think about anything except Makina tied to that chair, bleeding and scared.
She thought about all the times they had stayed up late talking about their dreams, about the future they were going to build together. Makina had been the first person to believe in Shakira's designs, the first person to tell her she could make it internationally. "Please be okay," Shakira whispered to the empty room. "Please hold on just a little longer." 2 hours crawled by like years. Then Ji-yeon's phone rang, and she answered immediately. "Talk to me." Shakira watched her expression shift from tense to relieved. They got her. Makina is safe. Shakira nearly collapsed with relief. And Sung-min, also safe. Minor injuries, but nothing serious. They're heading back now. Ji-yeon's expression darkened. Victor wasn't there. He sent underlings to guard Makina. Coward stayed far away from the actual danger. So he's still out there. Yes, still a threat. Still planning his next move. Ji-yeon looked at Shakira seriously. This isn't over. If anything, it just escalated. Victor will retaliate for this. 30 minutes later, the elevator opened, and Sung-min walked in supporting a limping Makina. Shakira ran to her friend, tears streaming down her face, and pulled her into a careful hug. "I'm so sorry," Shakira sobbed. "This is all my fault." "Stop it," Makina said, her voice rough. "You didn't kidnap me, you didn't beat me, that crazy Russian did. This isn't on you." But even as her friend said it, Shakira saw the bruises, the split lip, the way Makina flinched at sudden movements. Victor had hurt her to send a message, and that message was received loud and clear. Sung-min had a cut above his eye, and what looked like the beginning of a black eye forming, but otherwise seemed unharmed. He met Shakira's eyes across the room, and something passed between them, a recognition that things had changed, that the stakes were now impossibly high. "We need to talk," he said quietly. "All of us." They gathered in the living room. Makena sat wrapped in a blanket, sipping tea that Bong Cha had made. Sung-min stood by the windows, his jaw tight. Ji-yeon and Hwan flanked him like guards. "Victor knows where we hit him tonight," Sung-min began, "which means he knows we can track his locations. He'll move his operations, change his patterns, become harder to predict." "Good," Shakira said. "Let him run scared." "He won't run," Hwan interjected. "He'll attack. Harder, faster, more viciously. This rescue was a declaration of war, and war is what we'll get." Sung-min turned to face them fully, "Which is why I'm making a decision that you're all going to hate. Shakira, I'm sending you and Makena to a safe house outside the city, somewhere Victor can't reach, somewhere I know you'll be protected while I handle this." "No," Shakira said immediately. "I'm not running." "You're not running. You're being smart." Sung-min crossed to kneel in front of her chair, taking her hands. "Please, I can't fight Victor and worry about you at the same time. Let me know you're safe so I can end this." Shakira looked at Makena, saw how her friend was trying to be brave but kept trembling, saw how this nightmare had already scarred her. How long? A week, maybe 2, however long it takes to flush Victor out and eliminate the threat permanently. "And then," Shakira asked, "then you come home to me," Sung-min said softly, "and we figure out what forever looks like." Shakira knew she should fight this, should insist on staying, but she was tired of being the liability, tired of putting people she loved in danger. "Okay," she finally agreed, "but you have to promise me something. Anything. End him. Not just chase him away. Not just damage his operations. End Viktor Kozlov so thoroughly that he never threatens anyone again." Sung-min's eyes went cold and hard. Consider it done. That night, Shakira packed her things while Sung-min made arrangements. When she came to bed, he was waiting for her, and they held each other desperately, both knowing this might be the last peaceful moment they had for a while. "I'll come back to you," Sung-min promised, his lips against her hair. "No matter what happens, I'll find my way back." "You better," Shakira whispered, "because I'm not done with you yet." They made love slowly, tenderly, memorizing each other's bodies like soldiers before war. When Shakira finally fell asleep in his arms, Sungmin lay awake, staring at the ceiling and planning Victor's destruction in excruciating detail. Tomorrow, Shakira would leave for the safe house. Tomorrow, the war would truly begin. But tonight, he held the woman who had become his entire world and prayed to a god he didn't believe in to keep her safe. The safe house sat in the mountains 3 hours north of New York City, surrounded by trees and security cameras. Shakira hated it on sight. It felt like a beautiful prison, all modern furniture and safety measures that reminded her constantly of the danger she was hiding from. McKenna seemed relieved, though. She spent most of the first day sleeping, her body finally relaxing enough to start healing. Shakira sat by her friend's bedside, watching the bruises on her face slowly shift from purple to yellow, guilt eating away at her insides. "Stop staring at me like I'm going to break," McKenna finally said, opening one eye. "I can hear you overthinking from here." "I can't help it. You got hurt because of me." "I got hurt because I ignored your bodyguard's warnings and insisted on surprising you." McKenna sat up carefully, wincing. "This was my choice, Shakira. My stupid, impulsive choice. You don't get to take responsibility for my actions." Shakira hugged her carefully. "I'm still sorry. I know. Now stop apologizing and tell me about this Sungmin guy. Because from what I saw, he commanded a full tactical team to rescue someone he barely knows. That's either very romantic or very scary." "Both," Shakira admitted. "He's both." They spent the afternoon talking, really talking, about everything that had happened since the gallery party. McKenna listened without judgment, occasionally asking questions, her expression shifting between concern and understanding. "You love him," McKenna finally said. It wasn't a question. "I think I do," which is insane because it's been less than 2 weeks. "Love doesn't follow timelines," McKenna said wisely. "My parents met on a Monday and were engaged by Friday. 27 years later, they're still disgustingly happy. Sometimes you just know." Shakira's phone buzzed with a text from Sungmin, handled business in Philadelphia. "Miss you, stay safe." She texted back immediately. "Missing you too. Come home soon." But soon turned into days, which turned into a week. Sungmin Shakira every night, his voice tired but determined. He told her about dismantling Victor's operations piece by piece, about allies who were coming forward with information, about the net slowly tightening. But he never mentioned when she could come home. On the 8th day, Ji-yeon arrived at the safe house unexpectedly. Shakira knew immediately that something was wrong by the expression on her face. "What happened?" Shakira demanded. Ji-yeon sat down heavily. "We found Victor's accountant, guy named Dimitri, who's been skimming money from the organization for years. We convinced him to turn, to provide us with records and locations." "That's good news, isn't it?" "It should be." "But while we were extracting Dimitri, Victor attacked our headquarters in Houston, hit us hard. Several of our people were injured." Ji-yeon's voice cracked. "I was there. I got shot." Shakira saw it then, the way Ji-yeon was sitting carefully, the slight bulge under her jacket that suggested bandages. "How bad?" "Bad enough. The bullet hit my spine. They operated, but the doctors say I might never walk again without assistance." Ji-yeon's eyes filled with tears. "I went from running half the organization to being a liability in one afternoon." Shakira pulled her into a hug. "You're not a liability. You're a survivor, just like me, just like McKenna." "Sungmin is losing his mind," Ji-yeon continued. "He thinks it's his fault I got hurt. He's become even more reckless, taking bigger risks to end this quickly. Juan is worried he's going to get himself killed." Fear clenched Shakira's stomach. "I need to see him. That's why I came. He won't leave the city, won't come here. Says it's too dangerous to expose your location, but I think he needs you, Shakira, needs to remember what he's fighting for instead of just what he's fighting against." Shakira made a decision. "Then I'm going back." Victor is still out there, Ji-yeon warned. Still hunting. Still dangerous. I don't care. Sung-min is spiraling, and I won't sit here safely while he destroys himself. Shakira started packing immediately. Besides, I think I figured out how we can get to Victor. How? Shakira pulled out her laptop, showing Ji-yeon the research she had been doing for the past week. Dimitri's records show Victor moves money through a specific bank, right? And that bank is hosting a charity gala tomorrow night in Manhattan. High-profile event. Lots of security. Public enough that Victor might actually show his face. Ji-yeon leaned forward, studying the screen. You think he'll be there? I think he can't resist. His ego won't let him hide forever. And a public event where he can flaunt his wealth and power, he'll come. And when he does, we can identify him, track him, finally put a face to the enemy. This could work, Ji-yeon said slowly, but it requires bait. Someone Victor wants badly enough to make a mistake. Me? Shakira said simply. I'll be the bait. They drove back to the city that night, McKenna included, because she refused to stay behind. Sung-min was going to be furious, Shakira knew, but she was done hiding while other people fought her battles. The penthouse was dark when they arrived. Bong-cha met them at the door, her expression troubled. Boss is in his office. He hasn't slept in 2 days. Won't eat. Just keeps working on ways to find Victor. Shakira found him exactly where Bong-cha said, hunched over his desk, surrounded by maps and photographs. He looked terrible, with dark circles under his eyes and a fresh cut on his cheek that hadn't been there during their last video call. Sung-min, she said softly. His head snapped up, and for a second, she saw pure relief flood his features. Then it was replaced by anger. What are you doing here? You're supposed to be at the safe house. I came back because you need me. I need you safe, he said, standing up so fast his chair rolled backward. That was the whole point of sending you away. The point was to protect me while you ended Victor, but you're not ending him. You're just bleeding slowly while he picks off your people one by one. Shakira crossed to him, cupping his face in her hands. Look at you. You're exhausted. You're hurt. You're barely holding it together. I'm fine, he insisted. You're not. And neither is Ji-yeon, who got shot because you're so focused on offense that you forgot about defense. Sung-min flinched like she had slapped him. That wasn't your fault, Ji-yeon said from the doorway where she stood leaning on a cane. I made the choice to be there. I knew the risks. But I should have protected you better, Sung-min said, anguish clear in his voice. You can't protect everyone from everything, Shakira said gently. But you can let me help end this. I have a plan. She explained about the charity gala, about using herself as bait to draw Victor out. Sung-min listened, his expression growing darker with every word. Absolutely not, he said when she finished. You want to dangle yourself in front of a psychopath and hope he takes the bait without actually taking you. That's not a plan. That's suicide. It's our best shot, Ji-yeon argued. Victor is too smart to fall for a direct attack now. But his ego, that we can manipulate. Hwan appeared in the doorway. I hate to say it, but the girl might be onto something. Victor's pride has always been his weakness. He thinks he's untouchable. A public event where he can flaunt his power while showing up Sung-min? He won't be able to resist. And when he shows up, Sung-min demanded, what then? We can't exactly shoot him in front of 500 witnesses. We don't need to shoot him, Shakira explained. We need to identify him, track him, when he leaves, and follow him back to wherever he's hiding. Then, when there aren't witnesses, you do what you need to do. Sung-min paced, his hands clenched into fists. There are too many variables, too many things that could go wrong. Every plan has risks, Shakira countered. But this one has me as the advantage. Victor wants me, wants to hurt you through me. Let him think he's getting his chance. If anything happens to you, Sungmin couldn't finish the sentence. Then you'll save me, like you always do. Shakira stepped into his space, wrapping her arms around his waist. Trust me. Trust us. He held her so tightly she could barely breathe, his face buried in her hair. I can't lose you. You've become everything to me. You won't lose me, I promise. The next day was a whirlwind of preparation. Ji-yeon used her connections to secure Shakira an invitation to the gala. A designer friend provided a stunning gown, midnight blue with crystals that caught the light like stars. Bong Cha went over security protocols a dozen times. Hwan positioned teams throughout the venue and surrounding blocks. Sungmin barely spoke, his jaw tight with tension. Shakira caught him watching her constantly, like he was trying to memorize every detail. That evening, as she got ready, he came into the bedroom and just stared at her. You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, he said quietly, and the most terrifying, because I would destroy the entire world to keep you safe. Good thing I don't need you to destroy the world, Shakira said, adjusting his tie. He wore a tuxedo that made him look like he stepped out of a magazine. Just one very bad man. At the gala, they made their entrance together. The ballroom was massive, filled with New York's elite, dripping in diamonds and designer clothes. Shakira felt eyes on them immediately, people whispering behind champagne glasses about Sungmin and his mysterious date. He's here, Bong Cha said quietly through the earpiece Shakira wore, disguised as an expensive earring. Northeast corner, talking to the Russian ambassador. Shakira's eyes found him. Viktor Kozlov looked nothing like she expected. He was handsome in a cold way, with silver hair and expensive taste. He looked like someone's sophisticated uncle, not a monster who trafficked women. Their eyes met across the ballroom, and Viktor smiled. It was the smile of a snake who had just spotted a mouse. He sees you, Sungmin murmured, his hand tightening on her waist. Good. Let him look. They danced, and Victor watched. They mingled with other guests, and Victor circled closer. Finally, when Shakira excused herself to the ladies' room, Victor made his move. She was washing her hands when he appeared in the doorway, alone. You must be the famous Shakira, Sungmin's latest obsession. Shakira forced herself to stay calm, even as fear spiked through her veins, and you must be the coward who kidnaps women instead of fighting like a man. Victor laughed, genuinely amused. I like you. Such fire, such spirit. I can see why he's willing to risk everything for you. He stepped closer. But here's what you don't understand, sweetheart. Sungmin can't protect you. Not from me. Not forever. Eventually, I'll get my hands on you, and when I do, I'll make sure he watches while I break you piece by piece. You'll have to catch me first, Shakira said, her voice stronger than she felt. I already have, Victor said. And suddenly, there were hands grabbing her from behind, covering her mouth with a cloth that smelled sickly sweet. Shakira struggled, tried to scream, but the chemical on the cloth was working fast. Her vision blurred, her limbs went heavy. The last thing she heard before darkness took her was Victor's voice saying, Take her to the van. Let's see how much Sungmin's empire is really worth. Shakira woke to the smell of salt water and rust. Her head pounded, and her wrists ached from being tied too tightly behind her back. She was in some kind of industrial space, with high ceilings and broken windows that let in the grey light of either dawn or dusk. She couldn't tell which. She's awake, a voice said in Russian. Footsteps approached, and Victor came into view, looking far less sophisticated now. He had changed into casual clothes, and his smile had turned cruel. Welcome to my workshop, he said cheerfully. This is where I break people who think they're stronger than they are. Shakira refused to show fear. Sungmin will find me. I'm counting on it. That's the whole point. Victor pulled up a chair and sat backward on it, arms draped over the back. Here's what's going to happen. I've sent Sungmin a location. Not this one. somewhere else entirely. While he's wasting time and resources chasing that dead end, I'll be consolidating my power. By the time he realizes you're not there, I'll have taken over 3 of his territories. He'll never give up looking for me. I know, which is why in 48 hours, I'll send him a video of what's left of you. Something traumatic enough to break that iron control he's so famous for. A man who's broken makes mistakes, and mistakes get people killed. Victor stood up. You're not just bait, sweetheart. You're a weapon. The bullet that will destroy Sung Min from the inside out. He left her alone then, tied to a chair in the middle of the empty warehouse. Shakira tested her bonds, but they were professionally done, too tight to slip and too strong to break. She had no phone, no weapon, no way to signal for help. But she wasn't helpless. Her mother had taught her that strength wasn't just physical, it was mental, emotional, spiritual. It was refusing to break even when everything in you wanted to shatter. So Shakira sat in that chair and planned. She studied the warehouse layout, memorized the guards' rotation patterns, looked for weaknesses in their security. If she could just get free, could just find a phone or a way to signal her location, Sung Min would come. Hours passed. The grey light faded to darkness, then slowly brightened again. Morning, she realised. She had been missing for almost a full day. Somewhere in the city, Sung Min was tearing apart every location Victor had ever owned, following false leads, driving himself insane with worry. Shakira knew him well enough now to know exactly how he would react. He would be methodical, but desperate, brilliant, but reckless, and he wouldn't stop until he found her. A guard brought her water and stale bread. He was young, maybe early 20s, and he wouldn't meet her eyes. What's your name? Shakira asked in Russian, one of the 5 languages she spoke. The guard looked shocked that she knew his language. Alexei, he said automatically, then looked guilty. You don't want to be here, do you, Alexei? Doesn't matter what I want. Victor owns me, owns my family. I do what he says, or everyone I love dies. Shakira saw her opening. What if Victor wasn't in power anymore? What if someone stronger took his place? Would your family be free then? Alexei looked at her with something like hope. Sung Min is not stronger. Victor will crush him. Will he? Because from what I've seen, Victor is running scared, hiding in warehouses instead of standing and fighting, using hostages instead of strategy. That's not strength, that's desperation. She planted the seed and let it grow. Over the next few hours, every time Alexei came near, she talked to him about freedom, about choice, about the possibility of a different life. She saw him wavering, saw doubt creep into his eyes. Finally, on the 2nd night, Alexei approached her chair when the other guards were distracted. I'll help you, he whispered. But if Victor finds out, he'll kill my entire family. He won't find out. And after tonight, Victor won't be in a position to threaten anyone. Shakira looked him in the eye. Do you have a phone? Alexei pulled out a battered cell phone and handed it to her with shaking hands. Make it fast. Shakira's fingers flew over the keyboard, texting Sung Min's number. Factory district, near the waterfront. Can see the bridge. Come alone and silent or he'll kill me. Trust no one. She deleted the message from sent items and handed the phone back. Thank you, Alexei. You just saved more lives than you know. 2 hours later, all hell broke loose. It started with an explosion that rocked the warehouse, taking out the front entrance in a shower of concrete and flame. Guards scrambled, shouting in Russian, grabbing weapons. Through the smoke, Shakira saw a figure moving with deadly precision. Sung Min. He flowed through the warehouse like water, taking down guards with brutal efficiency. Behind him came Bongcha, Juan, and at least a dozen more fighters. They had come in force, and they were taking no prisoners. A guard grabbed Shakira, putting a gun to her head. Stop, or she dies! Sung Min froze, his eyes locking with Shakira's across the warehouse. In that moment, She saw everything he felt, the fear, the rage, the love so intense it burned. Let her go. Sungmin said, his voice deadly calm. This is between you and me, Victor. Let her go and face me like a man. Victor's not here, the guard said, and Shakira heard the truth in his voice. He left hours ago, said to keep her alive until he gave the order. Sungmin's expression went cold. Then you're useless to me. Bong Cha's shot came from nowhere, dropping the guard before he could even think about pulling his trigger. Shakira fell sideways with the chair, and then Sungmin was there, cutting her bonds, pulling her into his arms so tightly she couldn't breathe. I've got you, he murmured against her hair. I've got you. You're safe now. Shakira clutched his shirt, her whole body shaking with relief and residual fear. Victor wasn't here. He used me as a distraction while he attacked your other locations. I know. Ji-yeon and our people are handling it. Sungmin pulled back just enough to look at her face, his hands gentle as he checked her for injuries. Did he hurt you? No. Just scared me and made threats. Shakira looked around at the destruction. How did you find me? My message said to come alone. I don't follow orders well. Sungmin said with a slight smile, especially when it comes to walking into obvious traps. We tracked Victor's movements, found 3 possible locations, hit them all simultaneously. Smart, Shakira admitted. Desperate. Sungmin corrected. You were missing for 36 hours. I wasn't thinking straight, wasn't sleeping, wasn't anything except terrified I'd lost you. Hwan approached, his expression grim. Boss, we've got a problem. Ji-yeon just called. Victor hit the Houston headquarters again. She's alive, but she's badly hurt. They're taking her into emergency surgery now. Shakira felt Sungmin's entire body go rigid. How bad? Bad. The doctors aren't sure she'll make it. Sungmin stood up in one smooth motion, pulling Shakira with him. We go. Now, Shakira, you're coming with us. I'm not letting you out of my sight again. The plane ride to Houston was tense and silent. Sungmin held Shakira's hand so tightly her fingers went numb, but she didn't complain, and she could feel the guilt eating him alive, could see the way he blamed himself for everything. At the hospital, they found Ji-yeon in surgery. The waiting room was filled with Sungmin's people, all looking shell-shocked. The attack had been brutal and targeted, designed to cause maximum damage. Hours passed. Sungmin paced like a caged tiger while Shakira sat with her head in her hands. Finally, a doctor emerged, still wearing surgical scrubs. She's alive, he said, and everyone in the room exhaled. But barely. The bullet damaged her spine severely. Combined with the previous injury, she'll never walk again. She'll need a wheelchair for the rest of her life. Sungmin made a sound like something dying. Shakira went to him, wrapping her arms around him, feeling him shake. This is my fault, he whispered. All of it. If I had just ended Victor sooner, if I had been stronger, faster, better. Stop, Shakira said firmly. Victor did this. Victor pulled the trigger. Victor made the choice to hurt innocent people. You can't take responsibility for a monster's actions. I brought you into this world. I put a target on Ji-yeon's back. I've destroyed everything I touch. You saved my life, Shakira reminded him. You saved Makina's life. You gave me a future I wouldn't have had otherwise. Yes, it's dangerous. Yes, people get hurt. But that doesn't mean you're the villain here. Sungmin looked at her with eyes full of pain. I love you, he said, like the words were torn from him. God help me. I love you so much it's killing me, and that love is going to get you killed. Then we end this, Shakira said. Tonight. No more waiting, no more reacting. We find Victor and we finish it. Hwan stepped forward. Dmitri came through with information. We know where Victor is hiding. A compound outside the city, heavily fortified. Sungmin's expression hardened into something terrifying. Then we hit it with everything we have. I'm done playing defense. It's time to go to war. They planned the assault in the hospital cafeteria, surrounded by maps and weapon specs. Shakira insisted on being part of it, and this time Sungmin didn't argue. They were past the point of keeping her safe by distance. Now, the only safety came from ending the threat completely. That night, they moved as one unit, over 30 fighters descending on Victor's compound like an avenging army. The fight was brutal and bloody, room to room, no mercy given or expected. Shakira stayed close to Bongcha, armed with a gun she barely knew how to use, but determined to defend herself if needed. She watched Sungmin move through the compound like death incarnate, all his control and precision channeled into pure violence. They found Victor in his office, trying to escape through a hidden passage. Sungmin shot him in the leg, dropping him before he could run. "End of the line," Sungmin said, standing over Victor with his gun aimed at the other man's head. "You won't do it," Victor gasped, clutching his bleeding leg. "You're not a killer. Not really. You have too much honor. You're wrong," Sungmin said coldly. "I absolutely am a killer when it comes to protecting what's mine, and you made the fatal mistake of threatening my family." "Wait," Shakira said, stepping forward. She had an idea, something that had been forming in her mind since the warehouse. "Don't kill him, not yet." Everyone looked at her like she was insane. "Shakira, he has to die," Juan said flatly. "He does," Shakira agreed. "But first, he can be useful. He knows things, has connections to other trafficking rings, information that could save hundreds of women." She looked at Victor. "Give us everything you know, every contact, every location, every operation. Help us dismantle the entire network from the inside. Do that, and maybe you get to live out your life in prison instead of dying tonight." Victor laughed bitterly. "Prison is a death sentence for someone like me. I'll be dead within a month." "Then I guess you have a choice to make," Shakira said. "Certain death now or possible death later. Either way, your empire falls. The only question is whether you take other monsters down with you." Sungmin looked at her with something like awe. "You want to turn him? I want to use him to save people. If we kill him, his network scatters and rebuilds. If we force him to expose everything, we can cut off the head and all the tentacles at once." It took 3 days of interrogation, but Victor finally broke. He gave them everything: names, locations, bank accounts, shipping routes, information that the FBI could use to dismantle trafficking operations across multiple countries. In the end, Victor went to federal prison, where he was indeed killed by another inmate within 6 weeks. But by then, his information had already saved over 200 women and led to the arrest of 43 other traffickers. Ji-yeon survived her surgery and began the long process of learning to live with her new limitations. She refused pity, instead channeling her energy into running the legitimate side of Sungmin's businesses from her wheelchair. Makena recovered fully and decided to stay in New York, opening a gallery that featured African artists. She and Shakira became closer than ever, two survivors who refused to let trauma define them. And Sungmin kept his promise. With Victor gone and his organization dismantled, the danger faded. Life wasn't perfect or entirely safe, but it was theirs. 3 months after Victor's death, Shakira stood in front of a massive glass building in downtown New York, her heart pounding with excitement. The sign above the door read, "Shakira Uwera Designs," in elegant silver letters that caught the morning sunlight. Her flagship store, her dream made real. "It's perfect," Makena said from beside her, squeezing her hand. "Your mother would be so proud." Shakira felt tears prick her eyes. She had called her mother last night to tell her about the opening, and her mum had cried happy tears over the phone, promising to visit soon. Everything Shakira had worked for, everything she had sacrificed, had led to this moment. "Are you ready?" Sungmin asked, appearing at her other side. He wore a crisp navy suit and looked unfairly handsome. As always, over the past 3 months, he had been true to his word, slowly transitioning his operations toward legitimate businesses. He still maintained security and protection services, but the darker aspects of his empire were being phased out. "More than ready," Shakira said, taking his offered arm. They walked into the store together, and Shakira gasped. The space was even more beautiful than she had imagined. High ceilings with exposed brick, carefully curated displays showing her designs, natural light flooding through floor-to-ceiling windows. Jiyeon had helped design the layout to be wheelchair accessible, and now she sat near the center of the store in her custom chair, directing last-minute preparations like a general commanding troops. "The caterers just arrived," Jiyeon called out, "and the press will be here in an hour. Everything is on schedule." Bong Cha stood near the entrance, dressed in a sharp black suit, still playing bodyguard even though the threats had mostly disappeared. Some habits died hard, and Shakira had learned to accept the protection without fighting it. The next few hours passed in a blur. Press arrived, cameras flashed. Reporters asked questions about her journey from Rwanda to New York. Shakira spoke passionately about her designs, about bringing African aesthetics to international fashion, about creating opportunities for other young designers from her continent. Buyers circulated through the store, placing orders that made Shakira's head spin. A representative from a major department store chain made an offer to carry her line in 50 locations. A celebrity stylist asked about dressing her clients for the upcoming awards season. Through it all, Sungmin watched from the sidelines, his expression proud and possessive. Every time their eyes met, across the crowded room, Shakira felt warmth spread through her chest. This was her moment, her achievement, but having him there to witness it made it sweeter. As the afternoon wore on and the crowd began to thin, McKenna pulled Shakira aside. "There's someone here who wants to meet you, says she's been following your work for years." Shakira followed her friend to a corner of the store where an elegant older woman stood examining one of her dresses. She looked familiar, but Shakira couldn't place her. "Mrs. Chen." The woman introduced herself, extending her hand. "I own a fashion house in Paris. I've been watching your career with great interest." Shakira shook her hand, starstruck. Mrs. Chen was a legend in the fashion world, known for discovering new talent and launching careers. "It's an honor to meet you." "The honor is mine. Your work is extraordinary, fresh yet sophisticated. I'd like to discuss the possibility of a collaboration, perhaps a small collection for Paris Fashion Week next spring." Shakira's mouth went dry. Paris Fashion Week was the pinnacle, the dream of every designer. "I would love that. Absolutely love that." They exchanged contact information, and Mrs. Chen promised to be in touch soon. As she left, Shakira stood frozen in shock. "Did that just happen?" she asked McKenna. "It absolutely did. You're going to Paris, girl." Shakira looked for Sungmin and found him talking with a group of businessmen near the windows. When he saw her expression, he excused himself immediately and came to her. "What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." "Paris Fashion Week," Shakira managed to say. "Mrs. Chen wants me to design for Paris Fashion Week." Sungmin's face split into a genuine smile, the kind that transformed him from dangerous to breathtaking. He picked her up and spun her around right there in the middle of her store, not caring who was watching. "That's incredible," he said, setting her down, but keeping his arms around her. "You're going to take over the world, one design at a time." "We're going to take over the world," Shakira corrected. "I couldn't have done any of this without you. You would have found a way. You're too stubborn to fail." He kissed her forehead. "But I'm grateful I get to be here to see it happen." The opening party continued into the evening. At some point, someone brought out champagne and toasts were made. Ji-yeon gave a speech about perseverance and strength that had half the room in tears. Makina told embarrassing stories about Shakira from their university days. Even Hwan showed up, looking uncomfortable in social settings but making the effort. As the last guests finally trickled out and the clean-up crew began their work, Shakira found herself alone with Sungmin on the second floor of the store, which housed her design studio. She sat at her drafting table while he explored the space, examining her sketches and fabric samples. "This is where the magic happens," he said, running his fingers over a piece of hand-dyed silk. "This is where the work happens," Shakira corrected. "The magic is in seeing it come to life on actual people." Sungmin turned to face her, his expression suddenly serious. "I need to tell you something. I've been waiting for the right moment, and I think this is it." Shakira's heart started pounding. "What is it?" He crossed to her, taking her hands and pulling her to her feet. "These past few months with you have been the best of my life. You've made me want to be better, to build something meaningful instead of just maintaining power. You've shown me what it means to fight for something that matters." "Sungmin, you're scaring me. What's going on?" "I'm trying to propose, but I'm terrible at this," he admitted with a slight smile. Then he dropped to one knee, pulling a small velvet box from his pocket. "I had a whole speech planned, something romantic and perfect, but now that I'm here, all I can think is that I love you. I love your strength, your creativity, your stubborn refusal to back down from anything. I love the way you challenge me and support me and make me laugh. I love waking up next to you and falling asleep holding you. I love every single thing about you, and I want to spend the rest of my life proving it." He opened the box, revealing a ring that took Shakira's breath away. It was stunning, with a center diamond flanked by smaller stones in a setting that incorporated both traditional Korean design elements and African patterns. "I had it custom made," Sungmin explained, "to represent both of our cultures, both of our histories, coming together to create something new, something beautiful." He looked up at her with eyes full of love and hope. "Shakira Uwera, will you marry me?" Shakira's vision blurred with tears. She had imagined this moment 100 times over the past few months, but nothing prepared her for the reality of it, for the way her heart felt like it might explode with happiness. "Yes," she said, her voice breaking. "Yes, absolutely yes." Sungmin slipped the ring onto her finger, then stood and pulled her into a kiss that made her forget where they were, forget everything, except the feel of him and the joy flooding through her veins. When they finally broke apart, both breathless and smiling, Shakira looked down at the ring on her finger. It caught the light, sparkling like a promise. "We should tell everyone," she said. "In a minute," Sungmin replied, pulling her close again. "Right now, I just want to hold my fiancé and appreciate that she said yes." They stood like that for a long time, wrapped in each other's arms, the city lights twinkling beyond the windows. Shakira thought about the journey that had brought her here, the party where she had been drugged, the terrifying moment of waking in a stranger's bed, the danger and violence and fear, but also the love, the growth, the discovery of strength she hadn't known she possessed. "What are you thinking about?" Sungmin asked, his chin resting on top of her head. "About how my mother used to say that the best things in life come from the scariest moments, how we have to be willing to jump into the unknown to find what we're really looking for. Your mother is a wise woman. She really is." Shakira pulled back to look at him. "I want 2 weddings, one here for your family and friends, and one in Rwanda for mine. Whatever you want." Sungmin agreed easily. "I'd marry you 100 times if that's what makes you happy." They told Ji-yeon first, who cried and hugged them both so tightly Shakira thought her ribs might crack. Makena screamed so loudly that Bongcha came running with her hand on her weapon, thinking something was wrong. Even Hwan cracked a smile and offered genuine congratulations. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of wedding planning mixed with preparation for Paris. Shakira worked 18-hour days, designing both her collection for Fashion Week and her wedding dress. She wanted something unique, something that honoured both cultures while still being uniquely hers. Sungmin's grandmother flew in from Baltimore, a tiny, fierce woman who looked at Shakira with sharp eyes before declaring her perfect and welcoming her to the family. She spent an afternoon teaching Shakira traditional Korean wedding customs and sharing stories about Sungmin as a child that made him blush. "He was always so serious," his grandmother said in Korean, which Shakira had been learning, even as a little boy. "But with you, I see him smile. Really smile. You are good for his heart." The Korean wedding came first, held in a beautiful traditional venue in Seoul. Shakira wore a hanbok in deep red and gold, her hair styled according to custom. Sungmin looked incredible in his own traditional attire, and the ceremony was beautiful and meaningful. His grandmother cried through the whole thing. Ji-yeon served as a witness, wheeling herself down the aisle with her head held high. Bong-cha stood guard as always, though even she looked touched by the ceremony. 2 weeks later, they held the Rwandan ceremony in Kigali, with Shakira's entire family present. Her mother had sewn her wedding outfit by hand, incorporating traditional patterns with modern style. The celebration lasted 3 days, with dancing and singing and more food than should be legal. Sungmin was adopted into Shakira's family with ceremony and joy. Her father, a stern man, who had been skeptical of this Korean stranger his daughter had chosen, finally approved after Sungmin successfully completed several traditional challenges and showed proper respect for Rwandan customs. "You have chosen well," her mother told Shakira on the final night, watching Sungmin dance with Shakira's younger cousins. "He has a good heart underneath the dangerous exterior." "He does," Shakira agreed. "He really does." After the weddings came Paris. Shakira's collection debuted at Fashion Week to thunderous applause. The fusion of African and Korean design elements created something entirely new, something the fashion world embraced with enthusiasm. Orders poured in from boutiques across Europe. Her name became one to watch, a rising star in the industry. Through it all, Sungmin was her anchor. He attended every show, every meeting, every important moment. He celebrated her victories and comforted her through setbacks. He made her laugh when stress threatened to overwhelm her and held her when the pressure became too much. 6 months after the weddings, Shakira discovered she was pregnant. She told Sungmin over breakfast, just the two of them in their new home in Austin, Texas. They had chosen Austin for its creative community and distance from the chaos of New York, though they kept the penthouse for business trips. Sungmin stared at her for a full minute, not speaking, and Shakira started to worry. Then he stood up so fast his chair fell backward, rounded the table, and picked her up, spinning her around while laughing. "We're having a baby," he kept saying, like he couldn't quite believe it. "We're going to be parents." "Careful," Shakira said, laughing. "Don't make the pregnant lady dizzy." He set her down gently, then dropped to his knees and pressed his face against her still flat stomach. "Hello in there," he whispered. "This is your dad. I can't wait to meet you." Shakira ran her fingers through his hair, overwhelmed with love for this man who had started as a dangerous stranger and become her entire world. The pregnancy was relatively easy, though Shakira worked right up until her 8th month, finishing a commission for a European royal family before finally agreeing to rest. Ji-yeon moved to Austin to help, setting up a nursery while calling Shakira bossy about staying off her feet. McKenna visited often, bringing gifts and excitement. She had started dating one of Sungmin's security team members, and though she claimed it wasn't serious, Shakira saw the way her eyes lit up when she talked about him. Bong-cha took her role as future godmother very seriously, already planning self-defense classes for when the baby was old enough. Sungmin's grandmother sent traditional baby items from Korea, along with lengthy instructions on proper child rearing that made Sungmin roll his eyes but follow anyway. Shakira gave birth on a warm spring evening after 12 hours of labour that had Sungmin looking more terrified than she had ever seen him. When the baby finally arrived, a healthy girl with a shock of dark hair and Shakira's eyes, he cried. "She's perfect," he said, holding his daughter for the first time, with hands that shook slightly. Absolutely perfect. They named her Amara G1, honouring both cultures. Amara meant grace in the Rwandan language, and G1 meant will and purpose in Korean. Their daughter would grow up knowing both heritages, understanding both worlds, and Shakira was determined to give her every advantage. The first few months were exhausting and wonderful. Shakira learned to design with one hand while holding a baby in the other. Sungmin discovered he was excellent at 3 a.m. feedings and terrible at changing diapers, but he tried anyway. One evening, when Amara was 3 months old, Shakira found herself on the balcony of their Austin home, the baby sleeping in her arms while she watched the sunset. Sungmin came out to join them, wrapping his arms around both his girls from behind. "What are you thinking about?" he asked, the same question he always asked when he found her looking contemplative. "About that night at the gallery," Shakira admitted. "About how terrified I was when I realised something was wrong. How I thought I was going to die or worse." "You don't have to think about that anymore," Sungmin said softly. "That's over. You're safe." "I know, but I was thinking about how if it hadn't happened, we never would have met. I would have finished my show, gone home to Rwanda, and built a completely different life. A good life, probably, but not this life. Not with you." She turned in his arms to look at him, careful not to wake the baby. Sometimes the worst moments lead to the best things. The universe put us together in the strangest, most dangerous way possible, and somehow we survived it. We built something beautiful out of chaos. Sungmin kissed her forehead, then her lips, gentle and sweet. "I would go through it all again if it meant ending up here with you. Even Victor? Even the fear and violence? Even all of that. Because you're worth it. This family we've built is worth it." He looked down at their sleeping daughter. "She's going to grow up knowing she's loved, knowing she can be anything she wants, knowing that her parents would fight the world for her, just like her father fought the world for her mother," Shakira said with a smile. They stood like that as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. In the house behind them, Ji-yeon was probably working on business plans. Bong-cha was checking security systems. McKenna was likely texting about her latest gallery opening. Their family was unconventional, cobbled together from survivors and fighters, from people who had seen the worst of the world and chose to create beauty anyway. But it was theirs, and Shakira wouldn't trade it for anything. Amara stirred in her arms, making the little sounds that meant she would wake soon. Sungmin took her gently, cradling his daughter against his chest. "Mine," he whispered. The same word he had said that first night, when Shakira woke in his bed, scared and confused. But now the word held different meaning. Not possession, but protection. Not ownership, but devotion. Shakira stepped close, wrapping her arms around both of them. "Ours," she corrected, echoing the words she had said on their wedding night. "Ours," Sungmin agreed, pulling her closer. And as the last light faded from the sky and the stars began to appear, Shakira thought about the journey they had taken, from that terrifying party to this perfect moment, from strangers to lovers to partners to parents. They had survived human trafficking rings, rival gangs, gunfights, and betrayal. They had built empires and families and love that could withstand anything. The road had been dangerous and dark, but it had led them here, to this balcony, this baby, this love that felt like coming home. "I love you," Shakira said, because she never got tired of saying it. I love you too, Sung-min replied, because he never got tired of hearing it. Amara yawned, her tiny face scrunching up in a way that made them both laugh. She opened her eyes, dark like her father's, and looked at her parents with the unfocused gaze of the very young. She's looking at us like she knows something we don't, Shakira observed. Probably planning world domination, Sung-min said seriously. With your creativity and my strategy, she'll be unstoppable. That's what I'm afraid of, Shakira joked. They went inside as the evening air grew cool, closing the balcony doors on the night. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities, new moments to navigate. Shakira would continue building her fashion empire, expanding into new markets and pushing creative boundaries. Sung-min would keep transitioning his businesses toward legitimate operations, using his power to help instead of harm. But tonight was about this moment, this family, this love they had fought so hard to protect. As Shakira settled into bed with Amara between her and Sung-min, she thought about all the women she had helped save through Victor's information. 200 lives changed, 200 futures reclaimed. It had cost them so much, but it had also given them purpose beyond themselves. I want to start a foundation, Shakira said suddenly, for survivors of trafficking, help them learn skills, find jobs, rebuild their lives, use my platform to make a real difference. Sung-min smiled at her in the dim light. That's a wonderful idea. I'll help however I can. I know you will. You always do. They fell asleep like that, their daughter safe between them, their hands linked across her small body, and in that moment, everything was perfect. Not because their lives were easy or simple, but because they had chosen each other despite the difficulty, because they had looked at the darkness and decided to create light. Their story had started with danger and fear, with drugged drinks and dangerous men, but it had transformed into something beautiful, into love that conquered obstacles, into family built from choice, into a future full of endless possibility. And as Shakira drifted off to sleep, she whispered one more time, "Mine, ours." Sung-min corrected in his sleep. Ours, Shakira agreed, and smiled. If you enjoyed Shakira and Sung-min's intense journey from danger to devotion, please hit that subscribe button so you never miss another passionate story. Drop a comment below telling us where in the world you're watching from and which moment had your heart racing the fastest. Was it their first encounter, the rescue missions, or that perfect proposal? We love hearing from our incredible viewers around the globe.